Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Thomas the Game Engine, here with the lovely wife, and today we wanted to see if we could beat Dark Souls 1 Remastered with only axes. Now, the rules are quite obvious. Only use axes to damage enemies. There is a part in here where we kind of bend the rule a little bit, but we're going to have an excuse for that, and you'll see it later on in the video. Or maybe you won't, but I will explain it to you later.
I tried to get him to have us do fists only, but I was vetoed.
Yes, she very much was vetoed, because she wanted to do bare fists only, and we'll get to that eventually. But for her second playthrough, I thought doing a fun little challenge of axes, which I've never done a playthrough with these, and obviously she's never done a playthrough with it. So I thought it would just be nice to, start off with something that might go pretty decent. But that's what we're on today, and let's get this adventure going. So climb aboard, and let's get this train rolling. Starting off with the character customization, I started with the name of Axis. Just because I thought it'd be a little punny, you know what I'm saying? And for the class, it was between the Bandit and the Pyromancer, who both start with axes. But I didn't want to start with the Pyromancer because I didn't want the Pyromancy hand, and we're not doing spells or none of that crap in this run. We're going pure axes only, so the Bandit class it was. And for our first order of business, I was getting ready and setting up the recording when the lovely wife decided to run inside the boss room, and that is when we discovered you cannot open the doors once they are closed. Now, usually you're not allowed to, be doing PvP here.
So I 100% died. I died so bad. I walked in and a boss fell on my head and he's sitting back there like, I can't get in. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get in? And then I died.
After a few minutes of waiting, I had to have her open a door so I could get through. We grabbed the Estus flask and we dropped right on top of a boss, and he very quickly died afterwards. It was quite embarrassing for the boss. He didn't even have a death animation. He just blinked out of existence. And on to Firelink we go. I decided not to use my souls to level up, as I wanted to upgrade my axe as soon as possible. And then we realized we were 1 to 2 shotting everything. This is also a pretty good spot to mention that for some reason the audio didn't record for the gameplay, so it's just completely quiet this entire time, unfortunately. But after we sat down the bonfire, we decided to take on the Black Knight to have some form of challenge. And challenge he did. He put up a pretty good fight of being bullied in a corner. And then he slapped me around a little bit and slapped Fear a little bit until we just put him in the ground. And, of course, right after we kill him, he drops his weapon. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be for another playthrough, though. Moving right along, we make it to Andre, and I upgrade my weapon to +2, I believe. 2 or 3. I couldn't remember which one I did, and, it was to +2. And taking on the Steel Knight here, he very quickly dies. And we grab the Firekeeper Soul. And here's where I started to get a little cocky. After he T-posed on me and parried me, instant killing me, maybe I should have heeded a little humility, but no, not at all this run. This run was just a bullying fest. And we very quickly made it up to the gargoyles. And I believe I left this whole fight in here.
Yeah, I got my weapon after this because we got the gargoyle's tail axe pretty quick. And I ended up going with that for the rest of the run, but Thomas decided to keep his basic bitch starter axe.
Yes, realizing how powerful the axe was, we decided to stick with weapons that we had got very early on in the game. Because look at that chonker of damage at only +2. So, 2-shotting the second gargoyle as she finishes the first gargoyle, victory achieved, and we very quickly run up, ring the bell, and decide it's time to take out Havel the Rock. This fight was scary. He can one-shot you probably for quite a while. So we fished for backstabs, and Fira got a little cocky here, and very quickly was flattened like a pancake. And after that backstab, he just stood there. He started T-posing, and then just slumped over. Moving on to the Taurus Demon. I wanted to see how much damage we would do, so I gave him a little slap on the leg. And then wanted to see how much the plunge attack would do. It only took 2 plunge attacks to kill him. Then thinking we should get the large ember, we quickly made our way down. And here's where the screen got a little wonky. And we killed this sorcerer because sorcerers are nerds and we're barbarians. So the screen is small because the recording screwed up. So yeah, sorry about that. It'll fix itself later. And of course we took care of Capra. Ran down and grabbed the large ember after we put this pyro nerd in his place. Actually, my wife is the one who decided to choose violence on that one. I did not. Making our way back to Andre, we give him the large ember, and then we head down to take out Quelaag. I was worried about this fight because she's got a lot of health, and just in general is a rough fight. But I had complete faith in us that we would be able to figure out how to beat this boss. All we had to do was figure out how to make it down without completely pancaking ourselves. Which we were still doing pretty good damage to these things. So I was completely confident in our abilities to not die. After lighting the bonfire, we then waited for Man-Eater to appear so we could kill her. She actually has an axe. It is the Butcher's Cleaver, which is classified as an axe. I didn't touch it. I thought about it, but it took 26 strength to use it one-handed, and I was not about that. Didn't like the moveset. I should have tried it out. I didn't even bother. But since she has an axe, we allowed her in the fight. She's the only NPC who uses an axe. So we let her in, and she did not make it past the door. Like, at all. She's still over at the door, by the way. Half health, didn't touch the boss. Moving right along to ringing the second bell. Ding dong, who's there? Sackhead, that's who. We then decided to stop by and grab us some new drip. The big man didn't like that, so he decided to rip his arm out of his rib cage. And he chased us, trying to get back his clothes. He died. He died very fast. Of course. Running into Sin's Funhouse here. I was going to warn her to watch the plate. I thought she remembered. Nope. Nope, she didn't. And I laughed so hard at that death. Then we made it to the top of Sin's Fort so we could grab some large Titanite shards. I did not grab any large Titanite shards. I grabbed the Katarina set, which was actually a pretty good investment. I love the Onion Bro. He's just really funny. So I decided to go Onion Bro on this, just for a little bit at least. Looking at my rolls, I was very impressed with how this armor fit my hands when I was two-handing the axe. So I had a good laugh about this, and then we ran straight into the Iron Golem fight, where the fight was not long, but I didn't notice that Fira had been grabbed after a few seconds. She got grabbed right here, and if you watch the left side of the screen, I didn't even notice she fell.
I need you all to understand that this basically colored the next 45 minutes of my fucking existence and my death to gravity. Because I tried to get back up to this area and I died 5 times. Not because of enemies. No, I I got smacked by axes. I did a stupid roll. I think I accidentally walked off one place because I wasn't paying any attention.
After that tangent of a lot of dying, we made our way to Anor Londo, where we admired the beautiful sunset, where Fira didn't realize this entire place is an illusion. So this is where things get a little awkward, because later on in the video, we decided to use the bow and arrow to shoot Guinevere. But technically, Guinevere is an illusion. She's not alive. So we didn't actually kill anybody with the bow. All we did was distort an illusion. Now, to you all, we may have failed the challenge, but that is in a couple of hours. And I'm the one who makes the damn rules. So I don't think it's that bad. If you want to go ahead and fail us here 11 minutes into the video, that is completely your choice. Feel free to click on to another video or one of our other videos that we have made. But we are going to continue with this challenge because we were having a lot of fun just bullying everything in sight. Now, our biggest enemy so far was Gravity herself. And she is a cruel, cruel mistress, slurping us down to nothingness and gobbling up our souls. But the rafters, usually an issue, were not an issue too bad today. I was feeling a little up there. I was riding the high of the battle axe. And it was about here that we decided to stick with the weapons that we currently had, which for Fira was the Gargoyle's Tail Axe, as she said earlier, and me, the basic battle axe. Then this gargoyle thought he could jump me, and we ended up jumping him immediately into a plunge attack, cutting off his tail. He yelled obscenities at me, and I cut his kneecaps off. The run is usually not that bad going through Anor Londo Castle, so we're just going to skip all the way to Ornstein and Smough, where we proceed to run past the giants and go inside. We didn't know who we were going to fight first, but as soon as I walked out of the fog, Ornstein was right there, so I just started hacking at him. He very quickly died. And it was on to Super Smough, who backhanded the piss out of me so fast. So, in return, I cut his kneecaps off. And it was at this point that I realized we were doing a lot of damage. The only downside to the battle axe was the slow swing and the little stagger you do going forward, alongside of it has no range. We were also able to stagger Smough out of most of his attacks very quickly. We learned this very early, that if we just got aggressive, stayed in their face, and kept hitting, they would just stagger to death. But not every boss did that.
Here we decided to take a shortcut and give 30 humanity to the Daughter of Chaos so we could get to the Bed of Chaos. We were playing pretty late, so we decided against blinding ourselves with the lava fields. Shortcut it was.
The Bed of Chaos is one of my least favorite fights in this entire series, and it's mostly a scripted fight. So what we're going to do is we both run separate directions to get to the orange balls so we could break her balls. After that, we're going to do the not so patent pending quit out method. It has been used by the Souls community for hundreds of years at this point. So if you don't know the quit out method, maybe you should look it up, because this fight is just god awful. Whoever designed this fight, I don't know. They need to fight this thing 100 times and see how they like it. Now, of course, quitting out is no easy task whenever you're playing seamless co-op, so she had to leave my world, I had to break my half of the boss, and then I had to quit the game and reload. Once we were back in, it was just a simple sprint to the depths of the Bed of Chaos to slap her bug around. Now, of course, we love to slide down this, but we hate the run back. So after we jumped in, I told her, hey, distract the boss on the left side. and was immediately bombarded with Firestorm. As I was triggering an attack, I went for the run. It was here that I realized I had goofed and jumped too far. So then it was up to Fira to kill the boss. Luckily, she first tried it, made the jump, nearly died to a firestorm, and slapped the bug.
Y'all, I clenched so hard, and then I got to clench again with this.
Moving on to Pinwheel. It's Pinwheel. What do we all have to say about Pinwheel? We're pretty much late game. He died in 3-4 hits. And, yeah. So, let's see what mask we get this time. We get the Father, just like last time. And jumping straight into Nito. This fight, I don't even know what to say about this fight. This was a fight. We tried to stay back this time instead of running in and triggering all the skeletons. 3 little skeletons always run at you. We did not have a divine weapon. And that was entirely my fault for not explaining that to Fira, or how that even works. After beating up skeletons for a few minutes, waiting for Gravelord to waddle his ass on over here, I got stuck on the terrain, where I then got slapped into oblivion. Jumping into the second fight here, he died. We didn't go near the terrain, we just stayed in the middle of it. We decided we need to upgrade our armor, so we ran back into Anor Londo to grab the Dragon Tooth, Havel's shield, which we can't use either of those, and Havel's helmet along with his pants. We then decided to beat up this mimic right here, and we got the occult club, which we can't use the club, but the occult reminded me that we can use divine weapons. But too little too late. Going in for Seath the Scaleless next. I didn't know if we were going to run past these boars, but we decided to beat them up just for fun. Realizing that they had armor all over them, one-handed attacks bounce off of them. So we had to two-hand and took a lot of damage.
So I had all of Havel's armor on, I believe, at this point, and even those charged still just about one-shot me. It was terrible.
Moving on to a scripted death, we get thrown in jail. Killing the jailer, we grab the key and escape. And if you've done this part, you've done it 1,000 times. You walk out of the jail, run down, turn the music off, run back up, open the door, and you make it here eventually. So I decided to put on a little better drip that we stole earlier. And running over, breaking his crystal, waiting for him to get a little closer, we beat the dog out of him. Of course, his crystal attacks did a lot of damage, even for how much we pumped our health. Fira ended up dying on this one, but that's okay because we ran in to finish off the fight. Next is our favorite good girl, Sif the Great Grey Wolf. I always hate doing this fight because this is just such a good boss. Now she spent most of this fight jumping away from us and slapping us very quickly. The axe also had a tough time hitting her from underneath, so I had to continuously go for the legs. But shortly after it starts, she falls. Now, time for some good old-fashioned cleanup. I went for the Gaping Dragon. Fear was in this world, but she didn't make it into the boss room for some reason. Not sure what happened to her.
It shut me out.
Oh yeah, it did. It shut her out and wouldn't let her in the boss room.
And then we were stuck.
Yes, and then we were stuck. We were stuck very bad.
This was like one of the times we managed to break seamless co-op. So he went in and it just refused to let me in. I even tried like dropping out and joining back in and it was just not working. This happened again later on with Cal. But I managed to get into Cal's room.
After being knocked back by that Thickum's cheek, I managed to cut off its tail. That will also be another run if this ends up going well. But of course, the gaping dragon likes to jump up and turn around and slam her face into the dirt, where she somehow managed to clip me. Love these Dark Souls hitboxes. After beating on that head for a minute, I had to dodge out of the way before she trained me. And of course, looking at the damage, I'm doing good chunks of damage. This is only a plus 10 weapon. No, I don't believe it was a plus 10 weapon at this point. I believe I was only at plus 6 at this point. But that will quickly be changed after this fight. After this fight, I decided to upgrade to a plus 10. And of course, the Gaping Dragon is a classic boss and a classic example of hitboxes that are the size of your screen. And as she keeps jumping up, this is the last jump she manages before I cut that tooth right out of her. Keeping this train rolling down the tracks, we decided to go after the stray demon in the asylum and get the doll while we were there. This fight did not go well. It did not go well at all the first time. We were going from doing big chunks of damage to... This was probably the tankiest boss in the game. No idea why, but we just couldn't do a ton of damage to it. So we had to slowly chip away at the stray demon's health, and second try, we got this one. Diving deep into the darkness, we challenged the Four Kings. Now the Four Kings, I was very, very worried about this fight. I didn't know if we had the DPS to kill one king before another one spawned. Looking at the health, I was still worried, but I still had hope that we could do this. Sticking close to the king so he did reduce damage with the hilt of his weapon versus the blade portion of it, we didn't take much to any damage. But after that first kill, oh baby, it was on like Donkey Kong. We figured out how to do it, just stick to him like glue, and keep on a-slapping. And with that being said, that is the Four Kings, and that is all the Lord Souls we need. But before we head straight down to challenge Gwen and end the game, we had a little bit of cleanup to do. But first, let's dump these souls into the soup pot so we don't forget that later. Deciding to don the full Havel set, we give the mighty, mighty soup pot the 4 Lord Souls. As we watch this beautiful, beautiful cutscene from years ago, we look upon the ancient door and await the shining light behind to illuminate us on the path forward. It was here we decided to make sure that we had a plus 15 weapon before we went into the DLC. I was pretty worried about the DLC. It is quite a bit of a step-up challenge. So taking care of the Hydra, which is just an annoyance at this point, chasing those heads around, killing the Golden Golem so that we can free Dusk and talk to her. I was going to attempt to murder her, but as soon as you're done talking to her, she just vanishes. After we both donned our plus 15 weapons, we decided to challenge Gwendolyn. And this is where we shot Guinevere with the bow. I don't think it counts because she's just an illusion. Then we went for Priscilla, just cleaning up the area. Now Priscilla was absolutely no challenge, neither was Gwendolyn. Now here's the real challenge, the Moonlight Butterfly. She did not want to come down and eat on the moss, so we spent most of the time running around. It was a solid 7-minute fight of just dodging her magic. I stopped dodging about halfway through, and I just started getting hit by it. I was worried that we couldn't kill this boss because of her just not coming down. But eventually, she came down and died just as quickly as her peers. Finishing up here on the main game, the last little bit of cleanup, we have the Demon Fire Sage. And he's nothing special. He's just the stray demon with a lot less health. So after a few minutes, we just chop him into pieces. That's about it for that fight. And then right after that, we go straight into Centipede Demon, who he hurts. Like, I got clipped there, and I lost a third of my health. That really caught me off guard on this fight. But nonetheless, as long as we stay out of the lava, we couldn't get the orange charred ring because we kept missing our hits. But as long as he came up on land, he falls just like the rest of them. Now, on to the real fun part of this entire experience, the DLC, where there's to me, a pretty significant difficulty spike. I also was not paying attention to the souls I had. I just kept going. I thought I was at a pretty good level in general. So I've struggled a lot with the Sanctuary Guardian. So I was a little worried about this fight. But I had absolutely no reason to be worried about this fight. All in all, he's just quick, but with the armor I had on, the amount of health that I had on, just had to tank a few hits to get a few strikes in. But he was a quick one. Nearly got me at one point towards the end, but recovered pretty well, and a final chop to his ass, and he was donezo. And of course, I forgot to hit record when we took on Artorias. Artorias was quick and dodged a lot of our attacks, but we did big chunks of damage to him. So while we were dancing around, I didn't have the range to do anything. Fira took most of the damage from him. Well, dealt most of the damage, not took damage. He actually was not that aggressive this go around. But still a good fight, a good glimpse into the DLC. But of course we're pretty beefy on this, and we got some really good weapons. Running through Ulasil Township, we get invaded by Chester, who we just decided to gank him. We were not about that. He does so many spin kicks. His crossbow does a lot of damage. Grabbed the key for the bowman. I forgot his name. I'm sure I'll remember it in a few weeks. And took the elevator up to the township and went straight into the abyss. Now, sitting here, we thought about it and decided to take on Calamite before we took on Manus. And we were doing good on our first go-around, until we weren't. Got him down to half health, and we both died from the same attack. Then second go-around, we thought we were doing pretty good. We were some hot stuff. We were taking shots. We were dodging fire. And she got clipped by the fire, which was the end of it. It went downhill from there for her. I don't know why he got super aggressive towards her. And right about here, she got nosedived. And it was unfortunate. So I decided I had to lock the fuck in on this one. He was down to fourth, and I died. But of course, third time's a try, and Calamite down.
So this next one, Thomas was like super nervous about, and I don't even know why. Because we got through him way easier than Cal, actually.
But yeah, we saved Sif and summoned her during the fight. I shouldn't have done that because she's not using an axe, but I make the rules and she's a wolf. So yeah, she doesn't count. But I was really worried about this fight because of his magic. We didn't grab the silver pendant. He only used one magic attack on this. And we were doing some decent chunks of damage. Of course, he was doing some chunks of damage too, unfortunately. And watching this footage back as we're going through it, Sif, I don't even think she did anything. She didn't take any of the aggro. I had the aggro through 95% of this. Right here, he used a magic attack. It got me. It got me twice. But that was the only time he used his magic. He did end up catching me right here with a combo. Bam, bam, boom, skerplunk, and a plap. But of course, like the boss I am, I shrugged it off and I chugged me some Sunny D and kept on going. I was worried that if we dropped the aggro for even a second, he would start shooting magic everywhere. And of course, I can't take a load that big, so we just chopped his fingertips off and we called it a day in the abyss. As we stand here in front of the light, we realize that we have run through this game having a very fun time. This was a very fun first challenge run for us. Even though it was her second playthrough, we thought that, this would be a big chomp. Like more that we could chew. But realistically, we had so much fun doing this. These weapons were very surprising and not as slow and clunky as I thought they would be. But, plus 15 weapons, they're really fun. These axes. But running here through the kiln, facing Black Knights, I was quickly realizing that this challenge run, it's coming to an end. We're almost done here. And I started to feel a little sad about it. Because I want more. All that effort through this entire thing, I wanted more of it. But with that being said, we still have one last challenge to do. We still have Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. Walking through his boss gate, I realized I didn't really have a plan for this. Was I going to parry? Was I just going to brute force it? And then I missed the parry on the first try, which then just startled me, and I just had no plan after this. I was going to try and parry again. He didn't want to look at me, so I just started swinging. We were going to beat this man into the dirt. So as we continued to swing, he just stood there. Every now and then would get a pop shot off on us, but with that being said, that's it for Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. We have officially beaten Dark Souls Remastered with nothing but axes. This was a fantastic challenge. And as we stood there pondering, we decided, no, we were not going to link the fire. We were going to be the Lords of Darkness and start the Age of Man. The two bandits who started off this journey in the asylum, we were going to be the ones to end it all. And with the serpents taking their final bow, we ask another question. What's next? What weapon can we beat this game with? Should we go on to other games to beat it? Well, you heard it first. The baby has spoken for the first time in this video. We'll be seeing you in the next challenge video, the next gameplay video, whatever video you decide to click on. Thank you for joining us. And this was Dark Souls Remastered. Bye-bye.